Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Terence Crawford, the path to $500 million. That is exactly what Crawford could be on. Because Turkey al-Sheikh in Saudi Arabia, they have a passionate interest in Terence Crawford. And for them, it would be an honor to have Terence Crawford on that Saudi circuit. Now, I did a video earlier where we were talking about Terence Crawford and Tim Tszyu. That's not my opinion. That's something that is actually being worked. It has been confirmed. Okay? And the thing is this, now that we know Saudi Arabia is looking at Crawford and the money they're looking to pay him for this first fight over there is astronomical. Upwards 20, 25, 30 million, maybe more, right? We know it's something outrageous. And Tim Tszyu is going to benefit as well and make good money. But the thing is this, for Terence Crawford and Saudi, and the United States, right? Crawford, in my opinion, he's in a position where he's got to make a decision. Is he going to go out there, take one fight in Saudi, which him and Tim Tszyu is a very competitive fight. But take the one fight, let's say Crawford wins, right? And then retires. Because now, with the Earl Spence payday, he made very good money. And then with the Saudi payday, he makes more money probably than what he made against Spence. Worst case scenario, he makes the same amount of money. But now you're talking about Crawford, in a year, making upwards of 50 plus million. For a guy who's from Omaha, Nebraska, who just came into boxing as a professional boxer to just prove how good he is, and for him to push damn near, 20 years as a professional boxer, and to still not really be getting the credit he deserves, but to be receiving some credit now and getting the financial compensation that he earned. It makes me wonder if this is going to be motivation enough for Crawford to say, you know what, I get it. I have more money than I could ever spend. My kids, my grandkids, great-grand, if everybody is smart with managing the money, nobody after me ever has to work again. Is he going to just say, okay, good, I'm done? Or is he going to say, you know what, I'm motivated now to see what else Turkey al-Sheikh has for me? Because when you take a look at Turkey al-Sheikh and Terence Crawford and, even Tyson Fury and AJ and, all these fighters who aren't committed to PBC, right? There seems to be some flexibility there, but it also, Turkey al-Sheikh wants to put on the biggest and best fights and pay them huge money. But is Terence Crawford going to stay on the Saudi circuit? That's my question. Because you figure if he gets past Tim Tszyu, right, Crawford will become the WBO champion. Word on the street is that Saudi Arabia and the sanctioning bodies right now, let me tell you how crazy it is. They're trying, my understanding, there's a conversation to not just have solely the WBO belt on the line, but also another belt, I believe the WBC. So they're trying to work through the wickets right now to see if, in fact, Crawford and Tszyu can end up scrapping for more than one belt. Now, you may say, oh, that's illegal. How can they do that? It's immoral. Easy. Money runs the world. And if it doesn't run the world, it runs boxing, right? And these guys, these sanctioning bodies, you think they care about Fundora? You think they care about any of these guys when it comes to them making their money? Let's just put some things in perspective. They don't care. And that's just how it is. And Turkey al-Sheikh, Turkey al-Sheikh is a good he's a good thing for boxing, but then at the same time, some people feel he's a bad thing. But I think there's a little more good than bad, because we know, I'm not saying he's corrupt. I'm not saying he's not corrupt. But there's corruption in boxing, man. It's going years before Turki Al-Sheikh was even born, man. That shit's been going on. So if there's some things happening here that causes us to put a hairy eyeball on it, I'm almost like, you know what? Let's have the conversation, but, you know, big deal. You know, it's not going to stop anything. They're going to do what they want. They're going to make great fights, but there are going to be some fights where they have a fighter or fighters that, you know, they have an agenda, and they're going to push those guys to go on and be victorious and, you know, make all the money. But for Terence Crawford, I'm looking at him, and I'm like, shit, if he decides to stay on the Saudi circuit, what could be next for him? And people out here saying, well, you know, how you coming up with a, let me see something here. Hold on a second. Where is it? Right here. For those of you who are saying, you know, Terence Crawford, let's take a look at this real quick. Right here, the WBO, right? This is what you got. Tim Tszyu for the WBO. My understanding, what's happening here is Tim Tszyu has been bumped up to the number 2 spot in the WBO. And Tim Tszyu is going to get the opportunity to fight against Crawford for that strap. But when you look at what else would be here, let's say Crawford ends up winning. You know, there's going to be some other fights for him, but you guys are going to be surprised, because I think Crawford, because Turki Al-Sheikh has that interest in him, all the sanctioning bodies are pretty much following what Turki Al-Sheikh wants to do. You're going to see Crawford probably go on and find himself in some unification bouts. And if that's true, where they're looking to have Crawford unified at WBC, WBA, IBF, eventually get him on course to becoming undisputed at 154, right? If that's the case, well then, the paydays Crawford's going to receive, if he keeps winning, it's only going to become more and more and more. And depending on how long Crawford wants to hang around, you know, Crawford could really be on path to making some serious dough. 500 million, I don't know, but I would hope so. But he's not getting any younger. So if Crawford's going to do it, he's going to have to just kind of do like what Floyd Mayweather did, where he says, you know what, I got, 10 fights. I'm just going to grind it out, 2 fights a year, finish out this contract, make my money. Crawford may find himself, we may find Crawford fighting another 4 years, people, 2-3 times a year, probably more like twice a year in Saudi, where he could be making, you know what I'm saying, 100 million a year. We just don't know what direction this is going to go. But I think that's a great thing for Terence Crawford. And it's interesting to me, right? You know what? It's like nobody really wanted to work with him here in the United States. Even Eddie Hearn, you know, he's always looking to snatch up some talent, and Eddie Hearn's always planning ahead with picking up fighters, especially in the weight class, because he's looking at it holistically. If I pick up these 3 or 4 guys who are elite fighters, they'll probably dominate their division, but then I can sit here and have them fight and dominate the division, then have them fight off against each other in that type of elimination tournament, and then have one of them end up becoming the big guy in the division, and all the money stays here with Matchroom. Because Eddie Hearn, you know, he's smart. He got a smart team, and his dad is still there. Obviously, has a lot of influence over Eddie Hearn and what he does. But even Eddie Hearn didn't really want to touch Terence Crawford. And I truly believe a lot of that has to do with Bob Arum. But now you look, Terence Crawford is the big fish. I know people call him crawfish and all that. You know, this shit's funny, but Crawford really is the big dog out here. If Crawford is out here, you know, maybe it started with BLK Prime where he got that 10 million. Some people still don't believe he made that money. But Crawford got $10 million, a guarantee. There's not many fighters are getting guarantees of $10 million anywhere. They'll get a guarantee of $2 million, then they try to look at the back end to see just how much money they can make off of pay-per-view and other modes of revenue. But to get that kind of guarantee, they just weren't getting that. So you take a look at Crawford and the position he's in now. Earl Spence isn't there. There's really none of those fighters over there on PBC are going to walk into anything getting a guarantee of $10 million, especially with Crawford going to Saudi and looking to get a guarantee of at least what he made against Earl Spence. It's amazing how the tide has turned. Well, Crawford is the guy. He's the big money guy. He's the guy almost like he's the guy you got to fight if you want to really make money now. Of course, you got to go to Saudi, but still, anybody who's frowning at a fighter going to Saudi to get money, something's wrong with them. This is called prize fighting, right? They should all want to go over there and get money. It's just like when Eddie Hearn came on the scene with DAZN. You know how many of those fighters turned down, mega paydays? You get it. Loyalty matters, don't get me wrong, but there were mega paydays turned down. And I'm sure right now, seeing the position a lot of fighters are in, not just PBC fighters, but, a lot of fighters, if they were to get an opportunity like what Eddie Hearn presented to them years ago, I'm sure they would jump on it. And if they get an opportunity, if Turki Al-Sheikh phones somebody, I'm sure they would try to figure a way to get on it. But it seems like in some of the contracts, there's some things they are allowed to do and some things they aren't allowed to do, which I think is unfortunate. But at the same time, business is business. But for me, I just think Turki Al-Sheikh, I don't know how much longer that man has to live. I've talked about this before. There's something going on with him and his health, right? But when he's looking to snatch up, they owe you anyway. You know what I'm saying? We need to pay attention. When he's looking to bring Tank over, he's looking to possibly get Thurman over there. He's looking to get all these guys with big names over there. Wilder, you got the big 5-on-5 about to take place, heading back over there. Wilder and Zhang. Anyone who's not attached to a promoter, right? Like let's say Al Heyman, because for some reason those fighters just can't go over there. But if you kind of operating independently, and even if you're not, I think you may see some fighters break lock if they can with their contracts with some of these promoters, especially if you're a huge name, to go over there and try to get some of that money. But you're going to see some who aren't. But goddamn, I just think this is an amazing opportunity for elite fighters who otherwise wouldn't have been very active and definitely wouldn't have made the kind of money that they're going to make if Turki Al-Sheikh wouldn't have surfaced and start to kind of canvas the different weight divisions for those big names and say, hey, I need you over here to fight and I'm going to take care of you. That's what I said, him being involved in boxing there's like pros and cons to it, but at the end of the day, he's changing fighters' lives. Now, my thing is, Turki Al-Sheikh coming into the States now, and Turki Al-Sheikh making fights in the States. I want to see if he's going to be met with open arms, or if he's going to be kind of met with a lot of apprehension. Because at the end of the day, the United States, the grounds here is more like, if you're an outsider, they really don't want you here. That's kind of like guys from the States trying to go and start promoting over in another country. They don't really want you there. It's hard to break into that. But with Turki Al-Sheikh, this is a thing that I think a lot of people keep forgetting. Okay, it may not seem ideal to you, but when individuals sit back and say, no, we welcome him over here, you better believe the money has everything to do with it. People are being financially compensated, and that's all they want. And that's why you're going to see stuff happening here at the 154-pound division, some things that's not going to make sense to a lot of you. But at the end of the day, once you understand, Turki Al-Sheikh is, all about making sure everybody's happy. And he got endless amount of money, and he's going to do what he needs. And Terence Crawford, man, is getting his... He's enjoying the fruits of his labor right now, and he's getting the money that I personally think he deserves. And I know there's a lot of people out here who don't like Terence Crawford, but there's a lot who do. But I'm going to tell you, when you look at a guy like him who put all this work in, and I get it, maybe he could have got out of his comfort zone a little more and kind of be seen a little more. I get it, but at the end of the day, there's no reason to penalize the man. You know what I'm saying? It's like when I was in the military. You know, it's kind of the same thing. They look for the whole person concept. You know, and when you start talking about people trying to get up into that top 1%, you know, they want people who are willing to get out of their comfort zone, because at the 1%, you're gonna have to go out there and speak in public, and you're gonna have to lead teams, and you're gonna have to go out there, and people are gonna see you as a source of information, and they're gonna come and want to have conversations. And you can find yourself being put in some real uncomfortable spots if you haven't, you know, challenged yourself earlier on in your career to confront those, I would say, those things that make you uncomfortable. And that way, when you get to that you're up for that position, people can look and say, no, this is our guy. And there's a lot of times where, you know, I've seen a lot of people not do it. You know, they weren't comfortable. And I'm not saying what they had coming to them didn't eventually get there, but they didn't get it as early as they could have got it. And I think that's kind of what happened with old Terence Crawford. He just chose to do things his way. Still very effective, but as a result, he kind of got overlooked for, you know, being really, for his resume being respected. For a lot of people to say, no, he really is a pound-for-pound great. But I think right now he's getting it. And he's got out of his comfort zone somewhat. But we're going to see if that's going to demand him to get out of his comfort zone a little bit more. Look, let's face it, Terence Crawford will never be Tyson Fury. You know what I'm saying? He'll never be Tyson Fury. He'll never be Adrian Broner. He'll never be Blair the Flair Cobb. He'll never be the kind of guy who wants all the attention on him. Gerald Big Baby Miller, you know, that's not Terence Crawford. He's always going to be kind of easygoing, quiet, super serious. But at the same time, this is a guy who, you know, was shot in the goddamn head. You know what I'm saying? So I would take things pretty serious myself. Especially, you know, I never been shot in the head. But I was about to give y'all a story. But I think I'll hold off on that story. But your life experiences, man, mold you into who you are and how you operate. And I just think that's what you get with Terence Crawford. But anyway, Terence Crawford, I think it's solely on him. I have no doubt that Terence Crawford could be on the path to $500 million if he chose to. I think he takes care of his body. He has freakish genetics, and he has an IQ out of this world. And he still has that athleticism and ability to do anything he wants in the ring. But while he can, in my opinion, he should push and go all out. But he's got kids. It's like me. I retired in 2018, and I've had a lot of opportunities to go back and continue working. As a matter of fact, I had somebody reach out to me today. I just had an opportunity to go out there and be an auditor, senior auditor, internal auditor at Wells Fargo. And I got through 2 interviews, and then the last one, man, I like half-heartedly approached the shit because I kind of didn't care. You know what I'm saying? Because I was looking at it more like, am I going to be happy? Yeah, the money is cool. I don't need to work, but to go out there and pull in a little bit of extra dirt money, it's like, all right, life becomes, you know, some shit that is beyond comprehension if I do that. But what about my stress level? You know, what about my kids? So when I see Terence Crawford kind of on the fence about what he wants to do, I understand it. I totally understand that, because everybody has different priorities. Some people work because they have to. Some people do it because they enjoy it. So for whatever he does, man, I just hope he's happy. But if I had an opportunity to make this kind of money and only be away from my family for a short amount of time, man, I just bring them with me, man. Like, shit, y'all, come on. Like, I'd have to have that conversation. But, you know, we'll see. That being said, y'all keep cool. It seems like Crawford has the world at his feet, man. And we just got to see what he does next. But be paying attention to Alashik picking up All these other big name fighters, man, when you look at these big names in the division, you already see you got Zoo. Let me see, it's come down here. Don't be surprised if he tries to get at Spence. For sure, Ennis is going there. What else down here? Tiafimo could end up over there. Haney could end up over there. Suber and Matias could end up over there. Prograde could end up in a big fight over there with somebody off of Matchroom because Eddie Hearn's got the connection. Down here, I wouldn't be surprised if Bob Arum tried to get Lomachenko over there, Stevenson over there. Keyshawn Davis could end up over there. These are names of guys, man, who have names that are up and coming, and Turkey Al-Sheikh could want to see him over there. And I'm not calling out Frank Martin, name of some of these other names because, they're just hooked up with a network, a company that doesn't seem to want to really put their fighters over there. And when you look at these guys here, some of these champions, they're gonna want to try to make some fights with some of these guys. You're gonna see some interesting stuff happening, man. Down here, man, at 126 pounds. You're gonna see some very interesting stuff happening here, man. When you get down to 122, like I said, they're already trying to bring Inoue over there. So I think 2024. I think 2025, you're going to see a lot of fighters fighting over there in Saudi that you probably wouldn't have never expected. But at the end of the day, that money has a whole lot of power and influence over people. Y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.